Venezuela's high trial has prohibited opposition leader Juan Guaidó of outgoing the nation and iced his banking accounts. The go comes among an increasing force fight, following Mr. Guaidó proclaimed oneself intermediate CEO recent 1 week. He has been supported by the US and some countries. CEO Nicolas Maduro has main allies too much, consisting Russia. Mr. Maduro told in an interviewing how he was produced to conduct talks in the opposition. I am prepared to sit downward at the negotiations spreadsheet in the opposition, so how we could say for the nice of Venezuela, he said the Ruski country news story agent RIA newsletter in Caracas. Mr. Maduro controlled out an previous president poll, proverb the following one was not due before 2025, but told he would supporting previous parliament elections as a nice shape of policy debate. On Saturday, the Europe Association gave CEO Maduro an ultimatum to urge elections during 8 days, or the bloc would recognize Mr. Guaidó as CEO. The opposition has requested supporters to get portion in a couple-hour peace outcry on environment. It is as yet not clear if Mr. Guaidó will visit. A team of polar and southward US countries has meantime opposed any external war participation in the nation. Peru's Overseas Secretary Nestor Populizio told the Lima team, a 14-nation flesh consisting Canada set up in 2017 to discover a peace decision to the meltdown in Venezuela, was opposed to war intervene. US officials include set out how all options to solve the meltdown are on the spreadsheet. Venezuela has been cladding severe economical problems and down there has been an growth in abuse in latter weeks. Protests include been detained through the nation with Mr. Maduro began his other period on January 10. He was selected recent year for a contentious voice in that lot opposition candidates were prohibited of fleeing, or concluded. At low 40 human beings are believed to include dead and hundreds include been detained with January 21, the UN says. Hyperinflationary and shortages of essentials such as meal and medical include constrained millions to run the nationality. The high trial, that is loyalist to Mr. Maduro, rapidly adopted the measures on Tuesday following lawyer General Tarek William Saab requested it to get preventive measures versus Mr. Guaidó. The opposition lead is forbidden of outgoing the nation before a prior inquiry is full following he inflicted damage to world in the Republic, trial chief Michael Moreno told. As lead of the domestic gathering, Mr. Guaidó has immune of proceedings except object to a governing by the nation's top trial. Talk to journalists as he arriving at the parliament, the opposition lead according to reports told the moves were anything brand new. I'm not dismissing the threats, the harassment at the period, but we're there, we're ongoing to do our jobs, he told. The trial judgment comes soon following the U.S. told it had presented monitoring of Venezuela's U.S. banking accounts to Mr. Guaidó, whom it now hires as the nation's legal CEO. U.S. Domestic Safety Advisor John Bolton answered in a chirp precautionary of severe ensuing consequences for such who try to overthrow democratic state and damage Guaidó. We renounce the illegal ex-Venezuelan lawyer Jen's threats versus CEO Juan Guaidó. Let me repeat, down there will be severe ensuing consequences for such who try to overthrow democratic state and damage Guaidó. He says the basic law allows him, as the chief of the domestic gathering, to suppose force provisionally while the CEO is recognized illegal. He added, in Venezuela, we each take dominance, full suppression and torment, of Maduro's mode, or we select liberty, democratic state and prosper for our human beings. Mr. Guaidó told the Maduro authority was murder youthful impoverished human beings in the gateway. On Monday Mr. Bolton announced sanctions regime versus Venezuela's country-owned oil company PDVSA to provide how CEO Maduro could no much longer plunder the holdings of the Venezuelan human beings. He as well hinted at probable war activity, reiterating how all options are on the spreadsheet. Mr. Bolton emerging at a news story press briefing in a notebook comprising the speech 5,000 military to Colombia, that national borders Venezuela. On Tuesday operating U.S. Defense Secretariat Patrick Shanahan rejected to say if the Pentagon was examining send military. I refuged he debated how in Secretariat Bolton, he said reporters. More than rather than 20 nations include accompanied the U.S. in recognition Mr. Guaidó as intermediate CEO. But some powers consisting Russia, China, Mexico, and Turkey include openly supported Mr. Maduro. On Tuesday, Ruski Overseas Secretary Sergei Lavrov told the U.S. sanctions regime disrupted all probable world norms and incorporated to do all to supporting the legal by the government of CEO Maduro.